Chapter 1, Late Night Confessions. Sonny shivered. Even in his new leather jacket, the cold winds of Toronto nipped at the exposed skin his jacket didn't quite cover. He jammed his finger into the doorbell for the third time, silently cursing Joel for being a lazy prick and making him wait. Sonny could hear some shuffling on the other side of the door and was soon greeted with the sight of the man he was just beginning to think had drifted off into a parallel universe. Pushing past him, Sonny let himself into Joel's new apartment, taking his shoes off once he was safely through the door and out of the harsh conditions of Canada in the middle of October. Joel rubbed his eyes and rested them on the sight of his best friend, making himself comfortable among the boxes scattered around his living room. He noticed Sonny had brought along with him a 12 case of Miller Lite. Probably to celebrate my new status as single. Joel scoffed in his head, mentally rolling his eyes. It had been about 2 months since him and Kat had broken up, and he was long over it, but it seems Sonny had just now gotten the news. Joel took a seat next to Sonny on his couch and accepted the beer Sonny handed to him. He watched as his best friend chugged the beer like it was water to him. Sonny always knew just what to bring to lighten the mood. "Hey Mang, we need to talk," came the hesitant chirp of Sonny's voice as he looked down at where his hand had clasped his bottle till his knuckles were white. "Okay, shoot." Joel took another swig and closed his eyes. He knew whenever Sonny used that voice it usually meant big news, and he just wanted to get it out of the way so he could go back to working on his latest single. "Do you remember that show we did in New York? The one where we went to that after party and got so shit-faced we couldn't even remember what hotel you were in, so we just went back to mine?" Sonny fiddled with his fingers clasped on his bottle, obviously nervous. Joel could see the apprehension on Skrill's face and turned more towards him so he could look into his baby brown eyes, so full of innocence. God, he'd never seen a more beautiful face. Even when he was dating Kat, he always had a thing for Sonny. Of course he never told anyone. It was his little secret and his alone. For when it was the dead of night and he couldn't get the feeling of fingers ghosting across his neck as Sonny threw an arm around him nonchalantly, or the feeling of his heat radiating so close to him, Joel would cave and slip her hand under his covers to press against that aching piece of flesh. Flesh that wanted and craved something that was forbidden. It ached for Sonny. So Joel kept his little secret, covering it up with Kat. She was pretty enough to keep his attention, and he hoped that with the engagement he could move on and forget what could never be. That was until he came home one evening to find her stuffing his suitcase full of his stuff, and upon being noticed in the doorway he was screamed at for not treating her properly, and she deserved better, so he should just leave and take his stupid cats with him. The first thought that came to his mind was Sonny, and his cute little smile he would give Joel to cheer him up. Joel shook his head to get rid of the memory and realized he had zoned out on what Skrills was saying, only catching the last part of the sentence, "I think we had sex." Sonny mumbled, quickly casting his eyes down towards the floor, teeth worrying at his snake bites. Whoa, 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 whoa. Wait, what? Joel was taken aback. He could barely remember the night Sonny was mentioning. He could remember it was about a week before he had asked Kat to marry him and he was performing a show with Sonny. He remembered the slurred voice as Sonny pushed him into the back of his limo with a whispered command of, "Spend the night with me," before Sonny leaned forward and crushed their lips together. He could remember the taste of nicotine and whatever drink Sonny just had, on his lips, and it made that little piece of him that wanted Sonny to throb and curl low in his chest. Joel ached to remember what happened after that moment, but everything was blank with the feeling of vodka haze clouding his brain. "I think we had sex that night," Sonny repeated. He still wouldn't look up from the floor, ashamed maybe? Joel couldn't tell. "How do you know?" Joel inquired. This was all one big mess he had gotten himself into again. "Well, I hadn't been feeling well lately, so I went to the doctor and they said I'm pregnant." Sonny squeezed his eyes shut tight so he didn't have to see the look of confusion on his best friend's face. He still didn't quite understand it himself. Joel's face was frozen. Pregnant? How did that even happen? They were both guys, for Christ's sake. He was so confused right now, he could only hope Skrills would explain everything, but as the seconds ticked by it looked like there would be no explanation. "Why does this matter to me?" Joel asked quietly, almost as if he were to speak too loud would make everything true. "It's yours," Sonny whispered before flopping his head down expertly onto Joel's lap, helping to find comfort in his best friend while he let the tears slip down his face. "Are you going to leave me alone in this?" Skrillex had to whisper after nothing was said upon his confession. He was deathly afraid that he would be left alone in this deal. He had no idea how to raise a child, let alone by himself. Sonny desperately needed help in this endeavor. "Of course not. I could never leave you alone. It is partially my fault we're in this mess in the first place." Joel leaned back on his couch and ran his fingers through Sonny's hair, hoping to calm his friend. Soon Sonny's tears stopped, and with the help of the soothing motions of Joel's hands through his hair, it shortly put him to sleep. Joel watched as Sonny's breathing evened out and was followed by cute shallow snores. Cute shallow snores. Picking him up bridal style, he carried Skrills to his now their bedroom. Laying him down gently, he kissed him quickly on the head before leaving to continue his work. He would sort this all out when Sonny woke up, and then they would begin planning their new life together.